Things that you pay for that used to be free. By Trust Me, bro. Before we tap in, it's your boy RushMoreRick. If you like the video, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all want to see, and I'm saying interact with the channel. But let's tap in. Let's see what we got.
Things you pay for that actually used to be free. It is a crisp Saturday morning, and you are waking up excited because you know that today is the day they open the Christmas market. You love local vendors, knickknacks, fresh foods, and of course, community functions, which is why you quickly get out of bed, get ready, and head on to the Christmas market. Craft fairs and events are so fun. However, they used to be more fun because once upon a time, they weren't so expensive. Let me explain. As soon as you approach the event center in your car, you notice your first issue. While the event center has plenty of parking, none of it is available for free. Which brings us to the first thing that used to be free that now we have to pay for: parking. Admittedly, it's been a long time.
This is one of the things that like literally bothers me about going anywhere. Like I reside in the DFW area, bro. If you want to go to some places that are like everybody talks about the nice parts, the nice places, nice stores, nice bars, nice clubs, gang, you got to go to Dallas. In Dallas, free parking doesn't even exist. No matter where you go, you're going to have to park. At some point, you're going to have to download an app. You're going to have to fucking it be niggas that's literally in like the little the warehouse, like the fucking the vest. They're talking about if you want to park here, you could cash app this. Send it to this cash. What do you mean? Why do I have to cash app or Venmo or you know what I'm saying, any type of cash exchange to park somewhere? Like, have y'all ever, like, if you try to go to the state fair, bro, you gotta park. You gotta park hella far, and it's not even close. It's just not convenient. You're gonna have to still walk. Like, this shit is ass, bro.
Time since general parking has been free. And this may come as a shock to even the older Trust Me Bro viewers. But believe it or not, once upon a time, most, if not all, public parking was free. But this all began to change, at least in the United States, in the 1930s. Specifically, January of 1935, when Oklahoma City installed its first parking meter. Parking meters, of course, are the things you ignore when you park somewhere publicly. Joking, they are the place you put in coins so you can voluntarily scam yourself.
Look, I don't even mind. Look, I don't mind a parking meter. I don't mind because I know that money is going to the state, going to government officials, somebody who has a literal job to go into these parking meters and take the money out and take it to, you know what I'm saying, where they got to take it to. I'm not cash apping bro for a parking spot. I'm not cash apping him. I'm not. You're not about to play in my face and say I can't park back here on this private lawn that don't even belong to you. You know what I'm saying? It don't belong. I know it don't. Gang, I went to the state fair only one time. That was, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll go again, maybe I won't. Probably won't. I don't know. Don't care. But the first time that I went, we parked on the back of this fucking supermarket lawn. It was a Mexican supermarket, and it was a black nigga with a Cash App thing saying, this is private property. If you want to park here, you got to pay us on Cash App. Bro, why are you extorting? At that point, that's extortion. At that point, in order for me to park and then to go to the fucking state fair, I gotta park on this supermarket grass with a black nigga with a sign with they got a Cash App on a big ass QR code. It's telling me to pay. We both know that you're not Mexican. This is not your grocery store. So how? Okay, bro.
To place your car somewhere to go spend money at a business. I don't necessarily have a personal vendetta against parking meters. However, I do think they're a bit of a net negative for people that are doing some local shopping, trying to stimulate the local economy, at least in the modern day. Because sure, in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, there was really nothing besides brick and mortar, unless you count the Sears catalog. However, going to an in-person store was still very much so the rage. But now, in 2025, when you have Amazon and other online retailers, why would you spend money to park somewhere to then go buy something if you could, well, just order it online and get it to your door shipped for free? Now, to be fair, the whole parking lot business has always existed, you know, opening a private parking lot with the sole intention of charging for parking However, what I'm more specifically referring to here is either public government-owned parking lots or private parking lots owned by businesses now charging as well. As I stated, in 1935, the first parking meter was invented and used by the government, and that invention quickly spread across the entire nation. But it wasn't until the 1950s where other locations started charging for parking as well, more specifically, airports. In the early days of aviation, parking at airports was free, and it was also rather simple. It was typically just a large patch of grass beside the airport that, yeah, leave your car, no worries. But as the demand for travel began to ramp up after World War II, airport parking began to develop more, and quickly airports realized that, hey, while parking is a great value add, it's also something we can monetize.
And I understand that. Like, there's some places that I understand parking does need to be, pay to play. I'm not gonna lie, the airport being one of them, because one, there are so many people flying in and out every single day. Like, you may think that you know how many people are until you work at the airport. I worked at the airport. There are, I want to say, probably millions of people across the United States alone that are flying to and from somewhere every single day. So in order for you to leave your car here and go to do whatever it is you got to do, you gotta pay. You gotta pay. And the longer and the longer your car is just accumulating how much you pay to get out. That's the fucked up part. Now, what fucks me up is, right, if you work at the airport, there's separate employee parking that's always on the other side. Well, always it's not far, but it's not close. You know what I'm saying? And then from where the employee parking is, you got to take a shuttle. Gang, if you miss your shuttle, you'll miss your shift. So in order for some people that want to, get to their gate, get to their wherever they got to get to in the airport to get to work on time, because the shuttles aren't always the quickest, and it's hella people that are working there that got to get on the shuttles just like you. So if it's too many people getting on the shuttle, gang, and it's no spot for you, you're going to have to get the fuck off, and you're going to have to wait for the next one. You know what I'm saying? So for employees, and correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody who works at the airport watches this, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you work at the airport but you don't want to park in employee parking, you can risk it by parking in the general parking lot where like regular pedestrians that fly park. But when you get your car to get out, you're going to have to pay that. You're going to have to pay. I remember my first shift to go get my badge. I had to get a badge and I had to park, and I was there for longer than what I should have been. That's what the lady told me. Gang, I had to cough up $50 that I did not even have. I didn't even start working yet. I was already down bad. Gang, what you mean? I got to go $50 into the negative to get a badge so that I could work and make money? Okay, I see what's happening.
Monetize they did. And quickly, within a span of only a few decades, airports went from offering free parking to having parking be one of their major revenue generation streams. But because you're an event center in 2025 and not an airport in the 1950s, you submit to your reality, pay to park your car, and begin to head into the event center to experience the Christmas market. As you enter the event center, you feel the wave of warm air and your nostrils are full of Christmas cheer. And it's not, because it was cold out. But before you can even reach the first vendor of this Christmas market, you are met with a table. And behind this table are two middle-aged women named Tammy and Karen. And Tammy and Karen run this Christmas market. And they're not letting you into this craft show until you pay the fee. Which brings us to our next entry that actually used to be free. Admission to craft fair and, well, a lot of public events. For craft fairs and markets alike, there's no specific date when every event organizer decided to charge a cover. However, it's become extremely obvious that over the past few decades, the trend of charging a cover to even enter a market to support local business has become more and more common.
And this one is like, I kind of understand it, I kind of don't, but at the same time, gang, a public event, my thing is, don't say it's a public event, because most people associate public event with free event. It's not a free event, don't say public event. It's a private event. Anything that if you got to pay for in order to get in, you know what I'm saying? It's private. Nobody can get in unless they pay. It's private. That's what it is. Now, a lot of people don't put private in front of it because they assume that private events are luxurious events, when in reality, they're all the same, brother. If you got to pay to get in, it's a private event. It's not public. It's not free. Public is free. Private is pay. It's not. I don't have a problem with this, but my thing is, like, in this situation, gang, if I had to pay $5, I don't give a fuck what the amount is. $5 is $5, but at the same time, why am I paying $5 to go support local businesses? That's like going to a farmer's market, but in order to shop with local vendors, you gotta pay. You gotta give money to us in order to go give money to the local vendors. So my thing is, you know that we're going to be supporting small local businesses. You know that we're going to be spending our money with them. But at the same time, in order for y'all to feel like y'all got something, whether it be the city, the state, the establishment, the host, the people whose property it is or whatever, you know what I'm saying? These niggas want some type of financial gain shit. Why not charge the vendors a percentage in order to set up shop? Why not make your money off of the people that are fucking setting up shop on your property? But no, charge the people that also want to come and spend money on them. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all.
And I'm assuming many of my market goers can attest to this. Now, I want to make it very clear that there are still a ton of free markets in the modern day. And there is a small number of markets that simply charge a cover fee to directly support a charity that they are also contributing to. And that I'm fine with. However, in the vast majority of cases, it seems like more and more markets and events in general are simply charging a cover every year to optimize revenue generation. Now, here's the deal. I'm not knocking the hustle.
And look, don't even get me started on the fair, bro, because those tickets, like when I say like certain events, they just taxing you. You gotta pay to park. You have to pay the admission fee. Then after you pay that admission, in order to purchase things that at the different fucking kiosk or desk or booths or whatever, you gotta pay for raffle tickets. Each fucking raffle ticket is a certain amount. You know what I'm saying? It's a certain amount. And you gotta pay that. Then at the top of that, at the fair, you need a game card. You gotta put money into a game card to pay at the booth. It's like when I say every single chance they get to fucking tax us, bro, they're going to tax us. This is why I have a mini beef with public events. This is why, because before you even get to the event, you're spending upwards of $50. You're going to spend $50 before said event even fucking starts for you. Like, it's weird.
Business, bro. If you want to charge for people to come into your event, that's totally fine. But I think it's important that we understand the context. A $5 cover at a local nightclub versus the $5 cover at a local Christmas market are two different things, at least in my opinion. And if you want to maximize the number of patrons in your market to ensure that your vendors are able to become profitable, well, I would try to make sure that people can get in for free. And personally, I think the best way to go about this is have entry be free and also make donations optional. That way people are aware of the charity and can give if they'd like without being obligated. But regardless, back to Tammy and Karen. Upon becoming face-to-face with Tammy and Karen, you know there's no way around the situation besides paying them. Because their ugly Christmas sweaters have made it obvious that they're willing to lay their life on the line to ensure you pay admission. However, after paying for parking and after paying Tammy and Karen, you are relieved to be in the place you've been excited about all day. However, you've just been hit with one major issue. With this being a local small-town market, you're going to need cash to buy your favorite trinkets. And because of the fees you've already paid, your cash supply is looking low. However, you're in luck because as soon as you notice that your wallet is essentially empty, you notice something in your peripheral. A beautiful, shiny ATM. And this ATM...
Oh, them ATM fees gonna do it every fucking time. They're going to do it every time. This is why if the place don't take fucking Apple Pay or Cash App Pay or Tap Pay, whatever contactless payment system is popular in your fucking area, if they don't have that, I'm not going.
Brings us to our next charge that actually used to be
like the people don't even I don't think people like it shocks me when people carry large sums of cash. Now, one thing as a young adult, my grandma and my mom always told me at least have $30 on you. You know what I'm saying? Like at least have 30 because you never know what emergency that you could end up in that fucking involves you needing cash. Me, I still don't know what that emergency is. I don't want to find out. May the Lord's will it never find me. But they always say that you should have some type of cash on hand. Me, I just find it like once tap pay, once I start getting debit cards and credit cards and like tapping here, like I'm not some days I don't even like carrying my wallet. Like I'm not carrying cash. So in events like this, I fucking hate it because why not just have tap pay? Why not just have tap pay?
free. You see, the first ATM prototypes were invented in the 1960s, but it wasn't until the late 1970s and early 1980s when ATMs began popping up around the United States. During the early days of ATM machines, that being the late 80s and early 90s, ATMs were nearly exclusively owned by banks and either charged an extremely low fee of roughly 10 cents or no fee at all as a free perk to customers of a certain bank. And this tradition is still true to this day. Many of you, if you go to your bank's specific ATM, can take out cash absolutely free, and that's great. However, when you're out and about, or, at a Christmas market or your favorite gentleman's club, you're not going to your bank's branded ATM machine. You're going to a sketchy gray box that is begging for your credit card information. Now look, independent ATMs have been around nearly as long as ATMs in general. However, everything changed for ATM fees in 1996. And the reason for this is because prior to April of 1996, independent ATM owners were actually banned for charging a surcharge on transactions. Meaning that if you were in a public place before 1996, you may receive a charge for using an ATM, but the charge that you were receiving was from your bank for not using their ATM, which admittedly is already sneaky because banks were like, hey, use our ATM, they're free. But if you use anybody else's, we're gonna charge you for using their machine. Wild. Regardless, after a major industry ruling in April of 1996, the ban was lifted, meaning that independent ATM operators could now charge their own direct surcharge on their machines as well. And this opened the floodgates for basically voluntary extortion. Because now, if you're using a generic ATM owned by an independent person, not only are you paying your bank for a foreign fee for not using their own branded ATM, but now you're paying the ATM owner a separate fee, meaning that you are paying two separate fees just to take out cash. And if you're only taking out 20 bucks, for example, you could be paying nearly 20 to 40% of that additionally in fees just to get that cash, which is ridiculous. In 1998, the average combined fee from both the bank and the ATM owner was $1.97 per transaction. However, in 2025, this average has now gone up to $4.86 per transaction just to receive cash from a generic ATM, which of course is the most common. I know this one's a bit on the line because technically there are still free ATMs if you're willing to drive across town, and ATMs themselves were never really free because of the foreign fee your bank charged.
Brother, and they're not even taking into account people like me, where I got I still bank with a bank that's in New Jersey, and they're primarily on the East Coast. I have not stepped inside of my own personal bank in years since I moved here. So anytime, I rarely take money out of ATMs anyway, but anytime I'm taking money out of ATM, I'm getting hit with fees. I'm getting hit with fees. This is why I don't like going places that don't just allow you to tap pay. Like every establishment in the year of 2026 and forward needs to have some type of, contactless payment in store, because they're not taking into account that with these ATM machines and people taking money out, and I guarantee there's not always going to be a Chase ATM or a fucking what other bank is it? TD Bank ATM. Or fucking, I don't know. I can't even think of banks right now. But there's not always going to be that personal bank. The personal bank that you bank with is not always going to be there at an event. So you're going to not only lose the money that you're taking out because you're taking money out to spend it, but you're going to lose a percentage of money because you're going to be getting hit with fees, brother. You're getting hit with fees every time.
However, I think it's kind of obvious to see why this entry fits on this list, because once upon a time, ATMs were cheap and only had one fee. Now, ATM fees have quadrupled, and you're getting charged by multiple merchants just to get cash you already have. This isn't a loan. This is literally your money. Feeling like you're not ready for another scam right now, you actually cancel the transaction after seeing a $20 ATM fee, and you make your way out of the event space. Disappointed because your Christmas market experience was ruined. But it's not going to ruin your day. You get back into your car after you already paid for parking, and you decide you're going to go to a national park and enjoy some pure nature. Almost immediately after leaving the parking lot, you realize that one of your tires is low and your gas tank is nearly empty. However, luckily, a gas station is not far away. As you pull into the gas station, you find the air pump and park directly in front of it, running into the next thing that used to be free but isn't anymore. As you get out of your car and approach the air pump, you see a price tag, $1.50 for 4 minutes of.
Should have went the quick trip, my boy.
air. Now, this isn't the most expensive thing you've ever done, but come on, we're paying for air now? And sure, of course, you're paying to use this air compressor. However, this is a gas station, and they're already hyper-optimized for revenue. They have gas, lottery, tobacco, alcohol, fake labubus. They've got it all. And of course, chips. I think most of the people watching this video have always had to pay for air if they've ever had to pay for air. However, there was a time—
No, never pay for air. Either you go to Quick Trip and try to do it yourself, or you take your ass to Walmart. If your Walmart has a the vehicle department thing where they be working on cars, they'll put air in there for you. It ain't gonna last that long. Probably gonna last you about like a month or two, but they'll get you right for the free ski.
And when these air compressors for putting air in your tire were a free service that in some cases they would even do for you. But we'll get to that in a second. Prior to the 1970s, it was basically commonplace to be offering free air at any gas station. However, during the 1970s, charging for air became more and more of a thing. And it wasn't until the 1990s when it was basically commonplace to be charging 25 cents to $1 for compressed air. And now in the modern day, there is literally air pumps that accept credit cards. And who knows, maybe they'll start accepting crypto soon too. Just think of that utopian future, spending 10,000 poop coin to put air in your tires. What a dream. However, when it comes to compressed air, there is a bit of a silver lining, and some of you are already typing a comment about it right now. And that silver lining is that some states in the United States, while they allow you to charge for compressed air, require that you offer compressed air for free if asked. That's right, this is a scam you can actually work around. If you pull up to an air pump at a gas station and they're charging for air, simply go inside, use your charisma to pass a speech check, and they will turn on the compressor absolutely free. At least in some places where they're required to. As you finish airing up your
I never knew that. Like, I never knew that you could ask for free air at places.
tire, you pull your car into the bay and begin filling your car with gasoline. Which brings us to our next gas station related thing you pay for that used to be free. But in this case, you don't pay for it, you just don't get it anymore. That being a service. You see, prior to the 1970s, full service gas stations were all the rage. And at these gas stations, not only would they pump your gas for you, but they would also wipe your windows and even check your tire pressure. And this honestly sounds dope and like a good move for safety. Because imagine if you pull up to get gas and somebody who's knowledgeable about cars takes a quick look at your tires, realize there's either a nail in it or your tires are literally bald, and even just, suggests, hey, get that fixed soon, but for now I just topped up the air. That could literally save lives. But of course, it costs money, so it'll never work. As I mentioned earlier, in the 1970s, there was a large transition from full-service gas stations to self-serve gas stations. And with this change came a lot less service and a lot more charges. Now, of course, in the modern day, there are still a few full-serve gas stations that exist. However, gas at these stations are always more expensive, and tipping culture has basically made that experience, well, awkward or more expensive than it probably should be. But yeah, even though you can still technically wash your windows with the dirtiest, stinkiest fluid you've ever seen for free, there was a point in time when if you were getting gas, the gas station was so grateful for your business that they would fill your car for you, clean your window for you, top off your tires, and maybe even tell you that your pinstripe suit looked good.
And it's crazy because, like, I believe the last little bit of full service you get at a gas station, on some places you're not allowed to pump your own gas. Like in New Jersey, you actually gotta pay a gas attendant. You know what I'm saying? They have jobs for that. But here in Texas, brother, you can literally do everything at a gas station yourself. They eliminated all the possible help that you can go get, minus the nigga that's inside the gas station that's going to take, you know what I'm saying, take your money from you, essentially. Like, you go in there you either pay for gas at the machine, or you go inside and you pay that nigga. Either you pay for gas at the air pump, or you go inside and pay that nigga. According to this dude, this fella right here, he said apparently if you know what I'm saying, turn on that Riz factor, you get Rizzy, you can fucking get free compressed air. I didn't even know that. But it's like they're cutting costs on everything to save money, and essentially they're not saving money. They're just raising the prices on everything as well. So we're taking away the help that you could have paid for, that justify the high cost of shit. And instead of giving you help to pay for it, we're just gonna make you do everything yourself, and not only pay the amounts that they paid back then, but pay a little bit more. We're gonna charge you for buying gas. We're gonna charge you for putting air in your own tires. Everything that we could have had somebody and paid them to do, well, you would be paying them to do. Nah, we're gonna make you do it yourself, and we're still gonna charge you a fucking lump sum. It shit makes no fucking sense. It makes no sense.
Obviously, it's not all sunshine and rainbows because literally during this time in the 60s and 70s, leaded gasoline was a big thing. And if you don't know what leaded gasoline was doing to people, well, watch some of my serial killer videos. After leaving the gas station, you are finally back on the road and headed to your fortunately local national park. As you drive up the heavily wooded road, you get to the entrance of the park. And as you meet the employee in the little box, you are given a small map, and then they are asking you to pay the admission. Obviously, paying an admission at a national park is commonplace, but that wasn't always the case. Prior to 1972, basically every national park in the United States was free to enter and even camp in. Until, of course,
I mean, gang, it's on the planet. Now, my thing is, I get charging people for an event because with events, you have shit there that we got to set up, and we got different games, different vendors, different kiosks, different booths. I get it, but you're charging us to go see Stone Mountain, a fucking mountain that's here. You're charging us to go see the Grand Canyon that's here. Like, this is not a Six Flags. I've never been to those places, but I know, like, there's nothing there that is worth paying admission for. I can almost guarantee that you're going to see erosion. Fucking erosion. You're going to see what happens when water deteriorates a fucking rock over thousands to millions of years. That's what you're going to go see. You're going to go see volleys of erosion of just yellow rock. That's what they're charging you to do. This shit is crazy.
Of course, that changed forever. Now, not every national park was free. As a rule, there was a few that were charging small fees, but a vast majority of national parks were completely free to enter and use. However, in 1972, a federal law was amended that authorized recreational fees for every national park. And since 1972, everything has essentially flipped to where now over 111 national parks in the United States charge an entrance fee. And these fees range from $10 to $35 per vehicle, depending on the park. Now, once again, the silver lining is that there are free days at certain parks at certain times, but obviously it is still a stark contrast. Now, once again, I'm not hating on this, and everything on this list isn't like a personal statement, it's just a fact. It used to be free and now it's not. I'm not against national parks having better management and better upkeep. However, with national parks, at least in the United States, for example, being federally operated, it does seem a bit ironic that tax dollars are supposed to be spent on maintaining these parks, but instead we are now paying taxes and also paying to maintain these parks additionally with their taxes, once again being double dipped on fees. But with that being said, if national parks are underfunded and need to charge, well, I'm not against it because national parks are important and deserve to be well maintained. But just know,
hot take, but are they? You know what I'm saying? It's just something on the earth that's here. Like are they though? Like, are they?
To 1972, they were free. Here's the deal. You kind of forgot that you had no cash, so embarrassingly, you had to turn around. Fortunately, out of pity, the ranger lets you keep the map and you drive home. Okay, this is off topic, but do you smell that? It smells like you didn't shower. And if
it smells like an ad. It smells like an ad. It smells like an ad.
To our next thing that used to actually be free. You see, before the days of streaming services and overpriced TV channels, television broadcasting as a whole was free. In the early days of television, from roughly the 1930s to 1950s, regular TV broadcasts were free, either being funded by advertisements or, more commonly, public funds. And how the setup would work essentially is if you bought a TV and had an antenna, you could access these channels and have free entertainment on your brand new television ready to go. And this, for decades, was the standard and provided anybody with an antenna access to channels like ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, and other local channels. Now, granted, these free options still exist to this very day. However, good luck trying to be genuinely entertained by only using free television options. Because even back in the 50s, people were getting bored of that pretty quick, which is why TV began to quickly shift into a monthly paid model, specifically in the 1970s and 80s. What happened?
Wait, let's go back. It says, great movies every night. Recently released movies, shows, concerts, sports. Movies are uncut, complete with no commercial interruptions. Sears installs the reception system. So they had a type of subscription-based television with no commercials back then. See, did not know that either. And it was only 1995. I don't know how we feel about that. But Still not bad though. It's not bad.
Shift into a monthly paid model, specifically in the 1970s and 80s. What happened during this time with the introduction of cable TV?
But they ain't even have like no good TV back then. So I don't even know how you justify paying 1995 to watch like what, the Flintstones? Like what are you watching? Like what are you watching back then that is like, okay, 1995, I feel like I paid my money's worth. I feel like I'm getting my money's worth by paying this amount to watch commercialist TV. Gang, back then I'm pretty sure the commercials was just as entertaining as the regular TV. I'm pretty sure it was just as entertaining. So like what are we paying 1995 for? Like what are we doing?
Was the additional introduction of specialized channels. And these specific channels focused on things like news or sports and were funded solely by subscription fees and, once again, advertisements. And since that introduction of paid channels in the 1970s and 80s, media streaming has changed forever and evolved quite rapidly since then. And it's kind of ironically evolving so quickly that it's almost repeating itself. And what I mean by that is in the late 2000s and early 2010s, there was a movement online known as cutting the cable, which was exactly what it sounded like. People were fed up because they were paying so many subscriptions just to watch TV. And it truly was getting egregious and expensive, and people had to really make some tough decisions about what channels they were going to subscribe to. It was around the same time when digital streaming was becoming more and more popular, and it was starting to seem like streaming could be a potential alternative to traditional TV. And while it did for some time, I think for the most part it's just kind of repeating itself, because now so many people are subscribed to so many different,
and it literally is all repeating itself, because now all these companies are coming together. I seen something like a few weeks ago where they're packaging Hulu with Paramount Plus or Amazon. You can watch Amazon movies with Paramount Plus and all that. Gang, they're, instead of just paying a cable subscription where all these channels, where ESPN and Telemundo and the Food Network that's packaged all in one fucking paying subscription, you're paying for streaming services that are just packaged together. Like all of it, history repeats itself every time. Like it just does every time. And it's just like, it went from not having enough options to watch to not being as entertaining to now it's just too many fucking options. This is why I don't watch a lot of TV. Like it's hard for me to watch TV because, one, in order to watch something you got to search for something, and I'm not about to be scrolling through a fucking a million different options on Netflix because y'all want to fucking buy up every single thing plus make y'all own shit. Like, if you watching TV in the big 2026, gang, I'm not gonna lie, you already lost. You need to be watching YouTube. Watch YouTube. YouTube is TV. Pay for that YouTube premium. I guarantee you won't regret it.
Streaming services at once, they're not even saving money. And now we no longer have specialized channels, we have specialized streaming services, all available on your smart TV. It was reported in a study from 2023 that the average household in America is subscribed to at least 4 subscription services. And with most services being anywhere from $5 to $15.
Like, look at that. And then on top of that too, when you go into it with like the different streaming services and the different, you know what I'm saying, subscriptions you could get, you see, look, Hulu, $17.99 without ads, the $14.99 Prime Video, Netflix, $15.49 without ads, $22 to watch whatever you want without ads. Like this shit is just, and it goes up every single, not every year, every 2 years, every few years. Then they taking away your fucking password sharing. It's like, yo.
Per month, we can average it out to roughly $40 per month, or almost $500 a year in subscription services. I personally have no beef with streaming services, but it is ironic how quickly streaming turned from an alternative to TV to the new TV with the internet. After feeling enraged that the only source of comfort has been suspended because of your lack of funds, you realize that you at least can make your payment without using cash or even leaving your home. So you quickly pick up the phone and dial your cable provider. And they tell you that, yes, they could totally take a separate credit card over the phone to reinstate your services. And while this sounds all fine and dandy, this actually brings us to our next, no longer free service. You see, before the 2000s, you could pay most of your bills via the phone. And that was one of the most convenient ways of doing so, because the internet was still early and paying bills was more of a hassle than it is today. But interestingly, as online billing became more and more common, companies wanted to deal with over-the-phone bill payments as little as possible. Originally, because over-the-phone bill payments cost more money because they had to have have a live agent to receive this information and input it. And while that alone is a bit egregious because, well, you're already paying for the larger service, so that small service should be included considering how little time that one transaction takes. What's even more egregious and kind of hilarious is that after real phone attendants were replaced with automated systems, these companies still continue to charge for any bill payment being made over the phone, which is just hilarious. This one might seem like it doesn't really affect anybody because who pays bills over the phone anymore? But realize that just because something doesn't affect you, that doesn't mean it doesn't affect anyone. And for example, just imagine your sweet old grandmother who likes to pay all her bills over the phone because to her, it's still the most convenient way. Well, in the late 90s and early 2000s, that was completely fine. But now, let's say she's paying 5 different bills over the phone, with each of these bills having an additional $5 to $10 over the phone fee. Your sweet old grandmother could be paying an extra $25 to $50 per month just on fees for literally making her payment. To think,
man, they scamming. Like they're like, bro, I'm coming to the point where it's just like everything is a scam nowadays. Everything is a scam. Everything, brother. And it's only getting worse because, like, as a society, like, I don't understand it how America is so rich, but the people in it are so poor. Like, it never makes sense to me. But it's your boy RushMoreRick. If you enjoyed the reaction video, enjoy the reaction video. Stop being weird. You know what I'm saying? We here, we vibing, we learning, we, you know what I'm saying, expressing our opinion. Leave some in the comments for me. If you want me to react to something, leave it in the comments. If you got something you want to say, leave it in the comments. My reactions suck. Leave it in the comments. Comment, and subscribe to the channel. We out of here.